All right, let's move on to our regular agenda for tonight's meeting. And first of all, the agenda is there. If there are no additions to the agenda, we'll accept and move on. Are there any errors or omissions from meeting number 436, which was held on Tuesday, October the 7th? If there are no errors or omissions, we will ask for a motion to accept the minutes as they were circulated, as moved by Councillor Moores and seconded by Councillor Finn. Any discussion or questions? All those in favor? The motion's carried. Business arising out of the minutes? If not, we'll move on to our disbursement report, and we'll ask Councillor Mercer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move the disbursement report for October 28, 2014 in the amount of $1,282,794.22.
Okay, it was moved by, pardon me, Councillor Mercer. We have a seconder for that. Seconded by Councillor Finn. Any questions, discussions on the disbursement report? If not, all those in favor? Against? Motion's carried. Economic Development and Tourism, Councillor Cody Davis.
Thank you, Mayor Hawkins. The Economic Development Tourism Committee met at 4:30 on Monday, October the 13th. In attendance were myself as chair, Deputy Mayor Manuel, Councillor Pinsent, Councillor Moores, and staff included Mike Pinsent, Town Manager Clerk, and Gary Hennessy, Economic Development Officer. Our community profile, the current profile was completed in 2010 and included comprehensive information on the community, including demographics, industry, business, climate, labor force, etc. The committee recommend that the Economic Development Officer update the statistical information in this document and produce a digital copy only, suitable for jump drives and for our website. Community Regional Survey. Most communities in Canada rely on information from Statistics Canada for demographic information. This information is usually released to communities about 2 years after it has been compiled. Some communities are considering their own survey census to gather more accurate and timely information. The committee recommended that we continue to communicate with these communities to see how this process rolls out, and we will review their results and decide if this is something that our town would like to pursue as well in the future. The MNL Urban Municipalities meetings. Mayor Hawkins and the Economic Development Officer attended this session in St. John's from September 12th to 13th. There were several presentations to the groups on mega projects in the province and regional economic development initiatives. The groups will continue to communicate with a follow-up meeting soon on proceeding with the Urban Municipalities Accord on regional economic development. Tourism efficiency numbers for 2014. The Economic Development Officer presented a report on the visitors' numbers for various tourism sites in our area this past summer. Overall, the total numbers are up from last year. However, there are decreases in numbers in some of the locations, including the Visitor Information Center and the Mary March Museum. ICSC EDAC reports. The ICSC, Mayor Hawkins and the Economic Development Officer attended the International Council of Shopping Centres Retail Show in Toronto from September 22nd to the 25th. They met with several retailers and hoteliers and discussed opportunities in Grand Falls-Windsor. The committee discussed the value of continuing to participate in this type of retail show, and council will review their involvement as the budget consultations soon begin. EDAC in Calgary. Councillor Mercer and the Economic Development Officer attended this National Economic Development Conference in Calgary from September 27th to the 30th. They attended several sessions on topics such as placemaking with Dr. Catherine Laughlin, innovation and realism with Olympic gold medalist John Montgomery, and innovation and supply chain, a tour of community economic development ideas, as well as several other pertinent sessions. The committee discussed the option of participating in conferences such as this every second year instead of yearly. They will discuss in more detail at the next committee meeting. Tony White Don House tributes and a sports wall of fame. The committee received an inquiry from a local citizen as to why there's nothing in town to recognize the first 2 natives of our community to play in the NHL. As well, there was discussion about a wall of fame to be possibly developed here. The committee recommend that both of these topics be deferred to the Parks and Recreation Department for follow-up. New business list for 2014. The Economic Development Officer presented a list of new businesses registered with the town so far this year and the taxation that is generated from these new businesses. The committee discussed the various types of businesses here in town and how they are taxed. Our fall newsletter. The Economic Development Officer presented the final draft for the fall newsletter. It has gone to print and should appear in polybags for all households either this week or early next. The newsletter includes stories on the art procurement program, parks and recreation capital projects for 2014 and 15, a report from our municipal police department on litter, illegal parking, and moving violations, as well as an economic development report on several initiatives such as the age-friendly program, growing the knowledge economy, streaming council meetings online, and the redevelopment of the town website. Presentation for council to use at speaking events. The Business Development Officer developed a slideshow that council can use when speaking to groups on town efforts in healthcare and other initiatives. The committee reviewed the information and will use it in the future. Communications, Twitter, and Facebook. Councillor Cody Davis suggested that when we post an item to our Facebook page, we also do the same for our Twitter account. Settings can be adjusted to allow for this to happen. The committee further discussed the possibility of having an expert on Facebook and Twitter give a presentation to council and staff on the best uses for these social media processes. The Economic Development Officer will investigate this and report back to council. Website redesign. The committee reviewed the current status of the new town website. Work is almost complete on it, and council will go over the site one more time for any changes. The site will go live in a couple of weeks, and we encourage visitors of the site to let council know what they think. Brand items. The committee discussed the current items we use to promote the town and our brand, and reviewed several catalogs for newer items. The Economic Development Officer will get pricing on these items and report back to council. Our meeting adjourned at 6:55 p.m., and I move the recommendations and report of this committee.
Okay, it's been moved by Councillor Cody Davis. We have a second by Deputy Mayor. Any questions or discussions on the Economic Development and Tourism Report? If not, all those in favor? Against? Motion's carried. The Committee of the Whole. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The minutes of the Committee of the Whole, Tuesday, 7 p.m., October 21st. Present were yourself as Mayor, myself, Councillors Tom Pinsent, Amy Cody Davis, Bruce Moores, Rondi Mercer, and Darren Finn, and staff present were Michael Pinsent, Barry Griffin, Dave Nichols, and Jeff Saunders. Economic Development Presentation. The town has been invited to an economic development discussion organized by the Liberal Party. The committee reviewed the presentation and recommends that the Chair of Economic Development, Councillor Cody Davis, present the information on behalf of Council. Blue Sky Group Home. The committee reviewed complaints from the neighbours of the group home on Lincoln Road, as well as the statistics from the RCMP that showed a total of 81 complaints filed regarding the home since June of 2014. The committee also reviewed the business permit conditions and found that Blue Sky have not abided by the terms of the permit. In particular, condition number 4, which states Blue Sky Family Care must ensure that the residential care use at the approved location does not disrupt the normal enjoyment of adjacent residents and character of the neighborhood. And condition number 6, which states Blue Sky Family Care is to make every effort to address concerns from adjacent residents and or the town. Business permit is subject to review if complaints are received. Council may revoke the business permit, operation of BSFC, if issues cannot be resolved. The committee recommends that the business permit for the Blue Sky Family Care be revoked for 115 Lincoln Road. Resort Development. The committee reviewed correspondence from a citizen who is exploring a chalet-style development. The committee recommends that the proponent attend the next Public Works and Planning meeting to discuss the project. Non-union wages. The committee reviewed the schedule of wages for the non-union employees in light of the recent collective agreement. The committee recommends the attached table be approved. The committee also recommends that the vehicle allowance for the Director of Engineering be increased to $500 per month. I move the recommendations and report of this committee be adopted, and the meeting adjourned at 9:30 p.m.
Moved by Deputy Mayor and second by Councillor Moores. Any questions, discussions on the committee of the whole minutes? Okay, if not, I'd just like to, I guess, more or less make a comment in passing. This obviously, we had a group home similar and probably some of the same residents in our neighborhood for 30 years. And I would suspect, I know in those 30 years, I was probably involved in council maybe 16 of those. I have to say that I received, during that period of time, I received one complaint while that group home was on Pine Avenue. And now, in this particular situation, this is totally unacceptable. 81 complaints in 4 months is just something that, obviously, as a council, is unacceptable. We have tried to work with the proponents of that group home to address some of the issues and some of the concerns. And obviously, it hasn't improved. And it really, places us in a very somewhat precarious situation in that, we like to integrate people within our community to the best possible means that we can, because we do believe that people have a right to live in a community. But having said that, with the type of operation that's being administered through the Blue Sky Family Care, there are issues that had to be addressed. And I guess from council's perspective, and from where we're coming from, you just cannot move a facility into a neighborhood and just totally and completely disrupt the neighborhood. And I think we were pretty much, I know we had all received complaints from neighbors, but I was somewhat taken back by the fact when we realized that there were actually 81 complaints that were filed within a 4-month period. Now, to me, that is a disruption to the neighborhood. And I feel that, as a council, that obviously we did have those conditions put in there, and I think it was very prudent on our part when we issued the permit to operate, that there was some degree of protection there, that we would certainly review this if there were issues. And I think that really, when we look at it, those conditions certainly were not met. And I think the council, as we move forward on this, we're making the right decision. We cannot have that disruption happening in our neighborhoods. And I know there may be people say, well, individual neighbors and blah, 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 there may be disruptions. But again, this was a business that we permitted and allowed in that area on the condition. And obviously, those conditions, from our perspective, were violated. Councillor Mercer?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just to add to what you just said, back in April, I informed council that I met with the then Minister of Child, Youth and Family Services, who now happens to be the Premier of the province, and I met with him and discussed these very issues that were going around and talked about in the community. Now, a lot of it may have been fear-mongering from the union or the employees from the former group, but everything that I expressed to the Premier or the Minister at that time now happens to be true. These individuals in this group home are very volatile to their environment, and change is not always a good thing. And my concern, I'm sure the concern of the rest of the council right now, are these young people, and I'd like to see them in the best possible environment for their long-term safety and well-being, and as well for the general respect of the residents in that neighborhood, sir.
Councillor Finn?
Yeah, just a couple of things, Mr. Mayor, and I guess I'll just leap off of one comment that was made by Councillor Mercer, and that, we're concerned about the residents themselves and employees there, and they have a place in our community, those employees and those residents, and so this is not about us not wanting residential home care in our community. In fact, our regulations permit it. Council has supported it, and not only did we support this home being established, we would support others, like we supported the Youth Addiction Centre. So our community is open for these services, and people that find themselves in situations where they need to live in residential settings like that service that's offered. It's an unfortunate situation, but there is a spot for them in Grand Falls-Windsor. And so the message for us as councillor, yes, we are revoking that permit, but that's only because this operator has not been abiding by the regulations of our permit, and I suspect not abiding by the expectations of the contract with government. For sure that has to be in place. So, but we can only deal with our permit, and that's what we're dealing with in this case. So this message is, it's unfortunate that we had to revoke it, and it's the right thing. I did want to put the number of complaints in perspective, though. I know you'd said there were 81, but in committee, we discussed that there are only 5 of them that were generated from the public. The rest of them were generated from internal mechanisms, staff and agencies that they deal with. And so, but there are separately, council had gotten a number of complaints from residents who never filed complaints with the police. So we're dealing with other complaints as well, in addition to the 81. But the 81 are not necessarily, local residents calling it, 81 times into police. It's totally not the case, and it's not even necessarily residents in the immediate neighborhood that were reporting anything, because the incidents occurred all across town, I would suspect. So, so, when you really dig into the complaints, the story is not 81 complaints at all. It's a lower number. A lot of the complaints are because it's a structured environment, and the police are, attend to things very easily versus coming to my home. So that's just how the structure of those residential homes are. So it's unfortunate that council has revoked this permit, but it's the right thing to do. And next, we just got to work with them to scale back their operations and close in that location. And really, that's where we're headed.
Thank you, Councillor Finn, but again, there were, you were right, there were 5 complaints that were filed from neighbors. There were 76 that were internal, which varied from failing to comply, to theft, to controlled drugs and substances, to the Liquor Control Act, to threats, to assaults, to Mental Health Act, disturbing the peace, and mischief. So there is a significant list there. So.
I probably didn't go in as far as I want, and I really didn't want to. But half of those are related to curfew.
43.
So if you don't meet curfew, then, the staff are required to report you. And so that gets recorded. So that really skews the numbers. However, 5 is a lot.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying it's not 81.
Yeah.
From council's deliberations, what went into my thinking in supporting the decision to revoke the permit.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, just one final thing on this. For anyone listening tonight, I just don't want to get the wrong message out that this business permit is being revoked and that these residents and workers are outdone as of right now. There is a time frame, so Mr. Mayor, if you could elaborate on that time frame just to...
Yeah, well, obviously, they have a period of time in which they can appeal the decision of council, and then that would have to go through the appeal process. And depending on how that appeal goes, depends on how that business will operate. So
We had discussed the 30-day.
yes,
Yeah.
we gave them 30 days.
Yeah. Mr. Mayor, just one other point is this, back in early August, our staff had contacted the managing director of Blue Sky and informed them of council's concerns and the general public's concerns at that time. So this is not new. I mean, this is, we have been in contact with the company, in communication with them earlier in the summer, and we haven't seen any change.
Okay. All those in favor? Against? Motion's carried. Finance, administrations. Councillor
Thank you,
Mercer.
Mr. Mayor. I have minutes from our Finance and Committee meeting, along with 2 resolutions. So I'll do the minutes first. Finance and Administration Committee meeting met Tuesday, October 21st at 4:30 p.m. In attendance, myself as chair, Deputy Mayor Emanuel, Councillors Moore, Councillor Finn, Councillor Cody Davis, Councillor Pinsent, and yourself, Mayor. Staff present were Mike Pinsent, Town Manager and Clerk, along with Barry Griffin, Director of Finance and HR. Request community minders. The committee reviewed a request for funding to support suicide awareness. The committee recommends that this be discussed further. The committee also recommends that staff draft a policy on donations to community groups for the next Finance Committee meeting. Fiscal Framework. The committee reviewed the recommendations of the municipalities Newfoundland and Labrador on a revised fiscal framework. The committee supports the revised review for fiscal framework and recommends that council support municipalities Newfoundland and Labrador in their negotiations with government on this issue. 44 Memorial Avenue. The committee reviewed the outstanding taxes and court costs for the property. The committee recommends that council proceed with a tax sale. Collections report. The committee reviewed the taxation receivable report as of September 30th. Total taxes outstanding as of that date, $2,057,440.49, a decrease of $24,105.88 from the previous year. It was also noted that nearly 75% of the taxes owed are for the current year. Traffic fines. The committee reviewed an amended schedule of traffic fines as presented by the town manager and clerk. These fines have not been amended for many years and in most cases are far below the provincial traffic fines. The committee recommends the new schedule be approved, and for councillors in your binder, there's an attachment for the new schedule. Budget preparations. The committee reviewed the budget preparation schedule as prepared for the Department of Finance. The committee recommends that written submissions be invited from groups and individuals during the budget preparations, and the committee also recommends that this be accepted. As we do every year, we have a budget coming down in December for our town council, and we're not as big and as elaborate as what the province or the federal government would be doing, traveling the country and the province, doing budget consultations, but here in Grand Falls-Windsor, we're open, we're transparent, and open to any new ideas or suggestions. So if there's any user groups out there in our community or individuals, feel free to get in contact with one of our councillors or the mayor. Feel free to send an email or a letter and give us your ideas and suggestions on what we should consider in the budget, and we'll take all under advisement. Church residents. The committee received correspondence for the exemption of taxes as per section 118 subsection F on the Municipalities Act. The committee recommends that this be denied. Chemical cost. The committee reviewed chemical costs for the third quarter. Total costs are $69,446.09, an increase of 56%. It was noted that the increase was a result of both price and volume increases. The committee recommends that the management continue to monitor these costs. It was also noted that there was a dramatic increase in water consumption this past summer, which would have required an increase in the amount of chemicals used. Taxation revenue. The committee reviewed taxation revenue. Total taxation revenue year-to-date for 2014 is $13,815,843, an increase of $38,390 over budget. It is anticipated that there will be additional revenue based on supplementary assessments due to the development in the year 2014. The committee recommends this be accepted. Fuel cost. The committee reviewed year-to-date fuel cost. Total cost as of August 31st are $143,419 for diesel and $78,705 for gas, for a total of $222,724. It was noted that prices have decreased for the previous year, and that severe weather conditions from January to April meant higher diesel consumption. The committee recommends that staff continue to monitor all fuel usage. Labor report. The committee reviewed the labor report as of week 41. Total labor year to date, $2,509,408, which is 1.7% over budget, so $41,181 over budget. New Building Canada Fund. The Public Works and Planning Committee has recommended that the following projects be approved for the New Building Canada Fund: sewage treatment facility, 9.75 million; water line Lincoln Road, 1 million; Duggan Street trunk sewer, 1.75 million, for a grand total of 12.5 million. The committee recommends a resolution be drafted to accompany this application as required. The meeting adjourned at 7 p.m., and I move the recommendations and report of this committee.
It's been moved by Councillor Mercer. We have a seconder for that. Second by Councillor Pinsent. Any questions, discussions on the finance minutes? If not, all those in favor and against? Motion is carried. Moving to your resolutions, Councillor Mercer.
Resolution, traffic regulation schedule of fines. Whereas pursuant to the authority conferred by the Minister of Works and Services under the Highway Traffic Act 1990, Chapter H, Section 189 and 190, and amendments, and pursuant to the power delegated in accordance with the Municipalities Act 1999, Chapter M, Section 414, and amendments to the Town Council of Grand Falls-Windsor, has made changes to the schedule of fines. And whereas the Town of Grand Falls-Windsor has attached a new schedule of fines for any person who violates an offense as prescribed for the offense in Schedule A. Therefore, be resolved that the Town of Grand Falls-Windsor approved the newly amended traffic regulations as attached to this regulation.
Okay, this is Resolution 214-218, and it's moved by Councillor Mercer and second by Councillor Moores. Questions or discussions on the Resolution 214-218? If not, all those in favor? Motion is carried. Resolution 214-217.
Resolution, New Building Canada Fund. Whereas the Town of Grand Falls-Windsor is eligible for the New Building Canada Fund, which is cost shared on a 70-30 basis. And whereas the Town of Grand Falls-Windsor has the attached infrastructure needs as listed below in this resolution: water treatment facility construction, $8,037,055.48. Engineering, $964,446.66, for a total of $9,001,502.13. Lincoln Road Water and Sewer construction, $1,391,928.35. Engineering cost, $55,677.13, for a grand total of $1,447,605.48. Duggan Street trunk sewer construction cost, $1,256,226.20. Engineering cost, $150,747.34, for a grand total cost of $1,406,973.34, for the amazing grand total, sir, of all three projects combined, $11,856,080.95. Therefore, be it resolved that council approved and apply for the list of the above projects in this resolution.
Okay, Resolution 2014-217 is moved by Councillor Mercer and second by Councillor Pinsent. Any questions, discussions on the New Building Canada Fund?
Mr. Mayor, you noticed that the numbers are different
Yes.
than the finance minutes, and we've come up with some firmer estimates in the last few days.
So we trimmed off a couple hundred thousand.
About 700,000.
700,000 trimmed off, that's good. Have I asked for a motion to accept? So everybody said yes? Okay, all those in favor? Against? Motion's carried. All right, moving right along. Public Works, Planning Committee, Councillor Finn.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Public Works and Planning Committee met on Tuesday, October 14th at 4:30 p.m. Present were Mayor Al Hawkins, Deputy Mayor Barry Manuel, Councillor Tom Pinsent, Councillor Bruce Moores, Councillor Amy Cody Davis, and myself as chairman. Present among staff were Town Manager Mike Pinsent, Director of Engineering Works Jeff Saunders, Supervisor of Engineering and Public Works Wayne Tate, and Town Planner Mary Wong. LED sign application for 9 High Street The committee discussed a LED sign application submitted by Marshall Signs to place a 6x9 LED sign at the parking lot on 9 High Street. This proposed LED sign is attached to a mobile trailer. The location for the proposed LED sign is within the High Street commercial downtown zone. The committee recommends that the application be denied. High Street recently participated in the Facade improvement program as part of the Riverfront and Downtown Development Plan. The proposed LED sign on the trailer does not fit in with the guidelines of the Riverfront and Downtown Development Plan and streetscape improvements. Temporary portable sign application from various commercial locations. The committee reviewed a sign application that was submitted by Related Holdings Limited to place a 8x4 illuminated temporary portable light box sign at 7 commercial locations owned by the company. The proposed sign will be situated on those properties for short periods of time at approximately no more than 6 hours. Is that correct, 6 hours? Or days, okay. The committee recommends approval to the proposed sign at the locations presented, except the properties at 9 High Street and 19 to 21 High Street, which do not fit within the guidelines of the Riverfront and Downtown Development Plan and streetscape improvements. All other locations are subject to staff review and approval regarding sight lines, safety, and suitability. High Street facade improvement signage. The 2009 Riverfront Downtown Development Plan was prepared to guide the Town of Grand Falls-Windsor Town Council as it enhances the business and recreation environment in the riverfront of the Exploits River and the downtown area. The facade improvement program for High Street is intended to improve the visual quality of the buildings on High Street. Awnings, window treatments, and signs are some of the ways to improve the facade and create overall street appeal. The committee recommends that sign regulations be drafted for the High Street downtown area so that all business signage are consistent with the intent to improve the downtown streetscape as presented in the Riverfront and Downtown Development Plan of 2009. The draft signage regulations will then be circulated to High Street businesses and the community for input. Circulated to High Street businesses community for input. Request for on-site services, 142 Grenfell Heights. The committee discussed a request for on-site services for the residents on 142 Grenfell Heights. The home is approximately 640 feet from Grenfell Heights and located on 25.5 acres of land. The committee recommends this request be approved. Staff will review possible amendments to our regulation to consider on-site services on a case-by-case basis. Factors to be considered are land size, proximity to neighbors, soil conditions, etc. All disposal fields will have to be designed and approved by an approved technician and permits issued by Service Newfoundland Labrador. Correspondence, land adjacent to 24 Rothmere Street. The committee reviewed correspondence concerning land between 22 and 24 Rothmere Street. This land was scheduled to be a tot lot, but that has changed. The land is presently owned by the developer. The committee recommends that staff discuss the plan for this property with the developer and their interest in offering the property to the adjacent property owners. If they are not interested in purchasing, then it will be landscaped and maintained by the town as open space. The New Building Canada Fund. The committee discussed the New Building Canada Fund program and recommends we apply for $12.5 million for the following projects. Completion of wastewater treatment plant, $9,750,000. Water line upgrading on Lincoln Road, $1 million. Trunk sanitary sewer on Duggan Street, $1,750,000 for a total of $12.5 million. The committee recommends that this be forwarded to Finance Committee for the review and recommendation.
So finance cut $700,000 of it, so that's a good committee we have. So that
That's a good
figure now
committee.
is $11,856,080.95.
Yeah, I'm glad you highlight that, Mr. Mayor, because let it not be said that the Finance Committee does have a role. I
That's
served there for 6 years.
We
I
have,
know committees like to make their own decisions,
that's right, we get it.
so the committee saved 700,000. So, you know, you'll hear that again, you know me,
I'm
right?
sure you will, yeah. Be in the budget.
Arterial road tender results, gas tax. The committee acknowledges the approval of the arterial road project under the gas tax funding. Tenders were called for this work and four bids were received. Adams Construction was the low bid at $515,031.40. The pre-construction estimate was $567,203.50. The committee recommends the tender be awarded to Adams Construction for $515,031.40. Exterior renovations, Public Works Depot. The committee discussed the exterior condition or appearance of the Public Works Depot and Fire Hall and request staff to review the funding agreement to determine whether this project can be considered for funding in 2015. Main Street West land. The committee reviewed the lot layout for the town land on Main Street West. There are presently 8 lots scheduled for construction in 2015. The committee was pleased with the interest in this property and recommends the plan be approved. Correspondence from 94 to 96 Main Street. The committee reviewed the correspondence from the owner of 94 to 96 Main Street outlining the process and challenges he had with the Ultramar since the closeout of the service station. The committee recommends this information be placed on file for future reference. Land request, 79 Main Street. The committee reviewed a request for additional land at 79 Main Street. The committee recommends it be sold as per policy. Access request, 14 Prices Avenue. The committee discussed a concern from the resident at 14 Prices Avenue related to backyard access. This unit is part of a number of attached units, and the only access is through the house or cooperation from adjacent neighbors. This is not a town responsibility, and the committee recommends that the town not be involved with providing access. Land offer, rear of 163 Grenfell Heights. The committee reviewed an offer for land at the rear of 163 Grenfell Heights that is required for additional lot development on Maloney Street. The committee recommends the town not purchase this property at this time. Tender results for Victoria Street. The tender for the upgrading of the Victoria Street lift station closed on October 10, 2014, and there were 3 bids received. The low bidder was Newfound Construction Limited for $101,294,033. The committee recommends the tender be awarded to Newfound Construction Limited. The meeting adjourned at 6:30 p.m. Mr. Mayor, I move the recommendations and report of this committee.
It's been moved by Councillor Finn. Do we have a seconder for that? Seconded by Councillor Cody Davis. Any questions, discussions on the Public Works and Planning Committee? If not, all those in favor? Against? Motion's carried. 2 discretionary notice. Councillor Finn.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, there are 3 discretionary notices for small business. The town of Grand Falls-Windsor received a home-based application to provide daycare services for a maximum of 3 children aged up to 24 months at 33 Sullivan Street. No objections were received.
Okay, it's been moved by Councillor Finn to accept the discretionary use notice 33 Sullivan Street, second by Councillor Cody Davis. All those in favor? Against? Motion's carried. 15A 18 Avenue.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The town of Grand Falls-Windsor received an application for a home-based business for cutting and packaging of wild game at 15A 18th Avenue, and the town did not receive any objection. Mr. Mayor, I move that be approved.
It's been moved by Councillor Finn and seconded by Councillor Moores. Any discussion or questions? All those in favor? Against? Motion's carried. Discretionary use 12 8th Avenue.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The town of Grand Falls-Windsor received an application for a home-based business at 12 8th Avenue to provide mobile tire services. The town did not receive any objections, Mr. Mayor. I move that that application be approved.
And there will be no customer vehicles on site. It's only for administration purpose only. It's been moved by Councillor Finn and seconded by Councillor Pinsent. Any questions, discussions? All those in favour? Against, motion's carried. Moving to Parks, Recreation, Special Events, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Parks, Recreation, and Special Events Committee met on Wednesday, October 22nd, 2014, at 4:30 p.m. In attendance were myself as chairperson, Councillor Rodney Mercer, Amy Cody Davis, Bruce Moores, Tom Pinsent, and Mayor Alan Hawkins. Staff present were Michael Pinsent, Town Manager Clerk, Keith Antle, Parks and Recreation Foreman, Todd Mercer, Leisure Services Programmer, and David Nichols, Director of Parks and Recreation. Red Maple Festival, the committee discussed the final 2014 Red Maple Festival schedule. It was noted that the festival has been expanded to run for 13 days this year. There are several new events added, including a cranberry bake-off, pumpkin carving contest, and a Halloween haunted trail. The complete schedule is on the town's website, Facebook, Twitter, and copies have been given to all of the elementary and primary school children. Posters have been erected around town, and PSAs, news stories, and media advertising has been purchased to promote the festival. The committee is excited to present the 15th annual festival and encourages all residents to participate in the many activities. Town band update. The director informed the committee that the rehearsal and storage space has been secured for the town band at the Excite Center. The town band has held several rehearsals at the center, and they're quite pleased with the space provided and have expressed thanks to the town. Canvas update. The director informed the committee that arrangements have been completed with Canvas to utilize the new soccer clubhouse for their operations as a home base. Canvas have expressed their thanks to the town for providing them with the opportunity to utilize the new clubhouse for their activities. Fresh Start Theater update. The director informed the committee that he and the Leisure Services Programmer have met with representatives of the Fresh Start Theater. After considerable discussion, the staff recommend that the Parks and Recreation Department become a co-partner and co-sponsor in the Fresh Start Theater. The staff will work out details and report back to the committee for discussion. Correspondence, Grand Falls-Windsor Steve Nash Youth Basketball. The director informed the committee that staff met with the organizer of the Grand Falls-Windsor Steve Nash Youth Basketball Program. The department has been a co-sponsor of the Steve Nash Youth Basketball Program since its inception. The staff discussed options to increase the department's involvement and sponsorship. In the correspondence, the organizer requested that an additional $500 be provided to the program to assist with increased gymnasium costs, and also requested that the department assist with the purchase of some new equipment. Staff feels that both requests can be accommodated within the department's budget and administration. The committee discussed the correspondence request and recommends that both requests be approved through the department's operating budget and staff resources. Stadium events, policing, and parking. The director presented concerns from the town police and department staff with respect to stadium and special events parking issues. The police staff have been expected to control parking on Crown land. It was noted that it is the responsibility of the owner of the Crown lands to provide proper signage and policing of the property. The committee recommends that a letter be sent to the owner stating that the town will no longer be policing or providing barricades for this property. 2014 Tidy Towns. The committee discussed the announcement at the M&L meetings that Grand Falls-Windsor was awarded the 2014 Tidy Towns Award for communities with a population of over 4,000 residents. The committee is honored to receive this award. It was noted that this is the third time that the town has won the Tidy Towns competition. And Mr. Mayor, just break for a second there. I do have a copy of the certificates that we were able to receive at the municipality's Newfoundland Labrador Convention. This one proudly displays our Tidy Towns Award, and I must say that this, should be something that the entire community is proud of. Of course, as a council, we've had some extra effort into trying to keep the community clean with their anti-litter campaign and some internal policy that's been developed. But, you wouldn't be able to do it without the cooperation of the community. So very pleased to show off that award. And in addition, we also received some more recognition, which was the Environmental Action Award, and it recognized the town's outstanding performance and contribution to environmentally friendly programs. So again, I'm happy to show that off here tonight and Definitely something that the town should be proud of, the Recreation Department and staff, particularly for the hard work that they do to make the town look very tidy and neat, and hopefully there'll be more Tidy Towns awards in our future. Presentation, the Exploits Regional Curling Club. The committee welcomed Dr. King Jim and Mr. Trevor Miller, represented the Exploits Regional Curling Club, to meet at 6 p.m. The curling club representatives thanked the town for their support last year and in previous years. In particular, the 50th annual Paminco Bonspiel was held in March and was a huge success. The representatives presented the club's October 2013 to August 2014 financial statement and discussed the club's 2014-15 operations and requests for assistance from the town. The club specifically requests $10,000 for the operations and $5,000 for insurance, which are the same amounts given this past year. It was noted that a new and active curling club board have been elected, and they are very keen to increase membership and to provide more fun and participation for the members. The club has reactivated their membership in the Newfoundland Labrador Curling Association and are actively applying for grants to do renovations to the washrooms and front entrance. The club is in need of 4 liners, which will cost $12,000, and would appreciate any help with the ice maintenance and plant maintenance from the stadium staff if possible. The club also asked the town to help with snow clearing again this winter. All in all, the club is on the upswing, and they would appreciate the support from the town to continue to ensure that the curling club remains viable. The representatives were excused from the meeting at 6:25 p.m. The committee discussed the presentation and recommends that staff provide assistance where and when possible. The committee also recommends that the other financial requests be referred for discussion during the budget deliberations. Recreation infrastructure update. The committee discussed the ongoing recreation infrastructure projects. The Parks and Recreation Foreman informed the committee that the dog park has been nearly completed and work is proceeding at a great pace at the splash pad, the Goodyear Avenue Clubhouse, and at Centennial Field. Staff are awaiting the arrival of new playground equipment and will proceed with the installation when it arrives. The committee is pleased with the progress of these projects and looks forward to the completion of the projects for use in the 2015 spring. Exploits Riverfront Resort. The committee discussed a request from a resident to submit a business plan to develop a chalet cabin resort near the cross-country ski trails. It was noted that the resident will be invited to make a presentation at the next Public Works meeting. The committee will review this request at the next Parks, Recreation, and Special Events meeting. Scott Avenue Activity Center proposal update. The Leisure Services Programmer provided the committee with an update on the Scott Avenue Activity Center proposal. The proposal has been submitted to both provincial and federal government agencies for consideration. The committee recommends that Mayor Hawkins follow up on these requests within the next 2 weeks. Sports Recognition Wall of Fame. The committee discussed a request referred from the Economic Development Committee with respect to a Sports Recognition Wall of Fame being developed in the town. It was noted that there's already considerable sports display throughout the Joe Byrne Memorial Stadium and in the hospitality room of the stadium. The committee recommends that department staff research the possible location, cost, and labor required to institute a Sports Recognition Wall of Fame and report back at a future committee meeting. The committee also recommends that staff provide appropriate storyboards and item explanations for various memorabilia at the stadium main areas and hospitality room. Correspondence, hockey team sponsorship request. The committee discussed correspondence from an individual for financial sponsorship for a regional hockey team. It was noted that regional team membership does not qualify for funding within the department grants program. The committee recommends that this request be denied. Fall-winter programs update. The Leisure Services Programmer provided an update on the fall-winter programs presently being organized and co-sponsored by the department. It is hoped to have these programs finalized within the next few weeks. Work is also being completed on the Parks and Recreation Fall-Winter brochure. Any groups or residents that have programs to offer or wish to be included in the brochure may contact the Leisure Services Programmer at the department by telephoning 489-0588. And Mr. Mayor, should mention something a little new that the department has brought up in this Fall-Winter program effort to be able to come up with some new things. There's GPS courses, there are outdoor training courses, you got cooking courses, there's all kinds of things that they're partnering with local individuals and groups to try to offer the residents more opportunities to get out and get active in more than just your conventional sporting activities. And certainly, I'd invite anybody to contact the Recreation Department or visit the website to be able to get the information required and a full list of the programs that are offered. Stadium signage, the director informed the committee that Monaghan Hockey has sold all the board signage at the Windsor Stadium and they request permission to advertise on the glass with banners. The banners will be placed in areas that will not obstruct the viewing areas. The committee discussed this request and recommends that the request be approved and that the director work out the procedure and details for the locations and the size of the banners. Stadium ice logos. The staff informed the committee that due to the uneven ice surface and the amount of activities at the Joe Byrne Memorial Stadium, there is a problem installing and keeping the ice logos in good shape. The Parks and Recreation foreman noted that these problems have been explained to the advertisers who have purchased the logos, but there is some dissatisfaction toward the staff. The foreman would prefer not to install these ice logos, however, the staff will do the best they can under the circumstances. The committee recommends that the stadium ice logo advertisers be contacted and advised of the difficulties involved in maintaining the logos. The meeting adjourned at 7:25 p.m. and I move the recommendations and report of this committee.
Okay, it's been moved by Deputy Mayor. We have a seconder for that. Second by Councillor Pinsent. Any questions, discussions on the Parks, Recreation, and Special Events? If not, all those in favor? Against? Motion is carried. Notice of motion. No notice of motion. We move on to other business, and I caution you with regards to comments, because I know that the desserts that are to my left are drying out, and I don't think that we would adequately be able to test what Emily baked if we go on for another hour. So if we try to minimize,
Bottom layer will be perfect.
I'm sure it will. I'm cautioning you to try to limit your other business to 5 minutes or less so that we can be out of here in about a half an hour. So I'll start with Councillor Cody Davis, and she'll be the benchmarking for this thing. So I will pull the plug in 5 minutes. So your time is now started.
Thank you.
This is going to backfire on you, you know.
It is. I want to draw attention to our fall newsletter. I do want to remind residents to check, I should have showed the back page. Drinking water in a police car. This brochure will be, a newsletter will be in the poly bags this week, so please don't throw out your poly bags this week. Look through it first. Haul out the newsletter if you haul out nothing else, and go through it. Lots of great information in here on capital works projects, the seniors fair, 2015 projects that are happening with recreation and public works. So I definitely recommend. It's good reading material. Where you read it is entirely up to yourself, but definitely it's worth a read. I want to mention some good news this week. The former Sweeney property on Cromer Avenue has been purchased. I'm not going to mention the name because I'm going to leave it to the company to do their own public announcement, and I'm sure they're excited to do that. But you will notice construction happening there in the next coming months, and they're hoping that construction will be complete by late 2015. So the property was previously owned by a company out of Toronto and was sitting idle. And council does not like to see that. We want any business owners or land owners to please develop your land. So we had been communicating with them to develop it or resell it. And we're happy to see that that has happened, and we're looking forward to the development that will be happening there shortly. I want to remind residents that the council meetings are now online. 3 weeks ago, our meeting is on our website now. This meeting will be on our website on Monday. So I want to encourage residents to please view our council meetings online. I want to recognize again an award or some recognition that the town of Grand Falls-Windsor received from the CFIB, Canadian Federation of Independent Businesses, ranked us number 45 out of 100 for best places for independent business. So we're very proud of that, and it just shows that council and previous council's commitment to making the application process for business here simple and easy. We are open for business, and we're glad to see that we are certainly being recognized for our efforts. And thanks to independent business for setting up here in Grand Falls-Windsor. we certainly appreciate that. I want to recognize one of our own councillors. Councillor Tom Pinsent was recognized this past week, Small Business Week, from the CBDC. He received a Business Distinction Award for his businesses GL Moving and Storage and GL Audio and Visual. So congratulations, Councillor Pinsent. I have my ways. Your lovely spouse told me. And I also want to say, yes, we did present to the Liberal MHA and the Finance Critic earlier this week, did an economic development presentation. We had kind of a roundtable discussion with municipalities in the region. And we talked about fibre healthcare, mining and age-friendly, and the various projects that the town of Grand Falls-Windsor is focused on, and moving forward with different economic development initiatives. So we were thankful for the opportunity to do that presentation and to make the other municipalities as well aware of the initiatives that we're driving. And let me see. The firefighters' ball. I did have the pleasure of attending the firefighters' ball with the majority of council on Friday night. I was hoping to have the lawn service awards for the firefighters, and I apologize to them. I'm having email difficulty here this evening in getting that information. So what I'm going to do is, when I do get that email, I'm going to ask our Economic Development Officer to post it to our Facebook page, the list of all of the award winners, retired firefighters, and I want everybody to view it, and I want you to share it on your own status, because these are our volunteer firefighters, and they deserve so much recognition and thanks for the work that they do. So I would encourage you to please, once that goes on our Facebook page, to retweet it, share it, and send a note to the fire department to say thank you for all that you do. Was that 5 minutes?
Well, you're doing good. 6?
6? Oh, I was going to go on.
Are you finished
I'll move on. I'll leave the other items for the next meeting.
One of the good things I've been finding lately that, at one time I used to, put down other business. I've decided some time ago not to do that anymore, because I know everyone's gonna be covered before it gets to me anyway, because research, I know you're gonna be doing it. Councillor Moores.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In the interest of time and to get at those cookies, I have nothing to say this evening.
I like that. Councillor Mercer. We'll get a round of applause.
First time Bruce Morris. Or anything to say? Just to echo what Councillor Cody Davis just said about Fireman's Ball, I too would like to congratulate the Fireman's Ball on a phenomenal turnout and a great event Saturday night past. And I'm looking forward to the 25th annual Firefighters Ball next year, which I'm sure will be ramped up for the celebration. Just want to, I'll only take 12, 14 minutes tonight, because I got 5 minutes from Bruce.
No, I never gave mine away.
I never asked for it, I'm taking it.
I want to get at those cookies.
I just want to update council on the Grand Falls House committee work. This morning, the Grand Falls House Committee, through the chairperson, Peggy Bartlett, received communication from the provincial government that the provincial government has now signed off on their share of the project. So we have the town, we have the province, and we're just waiting for the actual ink to sign off from ACOA, which could be any day now. So we're looking forward to moving along with that project and the consultant. We had wished it would have been a little sooner, but bureaucratic tape at its finest. The Excite building. I have nothing today to say but frustration. I'd say for the past year now, I've been trying to get this project moved along for the sale, so we can get rid of this asset which is aging and probably in the future going to be costing us a lot of money. And I figured that it would have been an easy sell. From the perspective of interest and buyers, there was a lot of interest, but talking about bureaucratic tape from the provincial government, this should have been just a formality. but we've been 10 months and 3 or 4 ministers and meetings and letters. I know our Director of
Much longer than 10 months.
Finance
Started this
and
a long
Human
time ago.
Resources have wasted a great deal of time on this. And it's to the point now where we don't even know if we should take government serious. Are they looking at this, or are they just playing with us, saying, go play ball somewhere else? I don't think they take us serious. I don't. I'm very disappointed and disgusted that the time that our staff and we have councillors have put into this in meetings with ministers and different government officials, and to date, no decision, no decision, no decision. It's just formality. We're not asking for money. We're just asking for a signature on a paperwork so that the sale could close. But talking about disappointment, another disappointment, a letter that the town manager sent out today through his assistant from the Honourable David Brazel, Minister of Transportation and Works. And in the second paragraph, we anticipate a decision and announcement by the end of November on the demolition of the mill. I honestly, folks, I don't know how long this is going to take. It's an eyesore, it's dangerous, it's falling down, and it's not going to cost any money. With other mills across the country, I know the one in Dalhousie, New Brunswick, that was torn down and recycled by this firm, they actually made money. So this is not an opportunity of, well, it's going to cost X amount of millions to tear down this building. The government has an opportunity to make money, and I just don't understand. I'm just flabbergasted. Moving on, at least I've got some great news to report on tonight, Mr. Mayor, instead of this doom and gloom. I'd like to congratulate the local organizing committee of the Wishmaker Walk for Wishes walk that was held this past Sunday afternoon. The local group did a phenomenal job in organizing despite the inclement weather. Yourself was there as mayor representing the town, and I had the opportunity to participate as well. And this group, on a Sunday afternoon, despite the weather, managed to raise $13,000 here in this community, which I think is phenomenal work. And put it into perspective, each wish that is granted to a child, and there was a wish granted, cost approximately $10,000. So because of the efforts of this local group, Sunday afternoon in the terrible weather, a wish was granted to a deserving child. So that's all I have for tonight, Mr. Mayor. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Mercer, and I fully understand your frustrations and the frustrations of council, but these things sometimes happen, and I guess we'll just keep plugging along and see what happens, and hopefully, who knows, Santa Claus might come early with an announcement. So who knows? And of course, yeah, I just want to echo, not only was the wish granted on Sunday, but actually the wish child was there Sunday. And that in itself is a rather emotional time and an emotional situation. And certainly being able to raise that money on Sunday afternoon was well worth the effort, and certainly we wish the family and the child all the best from council and certainly from the residents of Grand Falls-Windsor as she continues on her journey to fight the disease. Councillor Pinsent.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank to Councillor Cody Davis for congrats. It was nice to get the award, but the award speaks more, I think, for my employees that work at GL Moving and GLA Audiovisual, but I appreciate the thing, and there was a lot of work gone into it. I just have 15 things to go through here. Councillor Finn said, you're not going to go through all those, are you? I said, of course I am. You know me better than that. First of all, condolences to the Church of God. Pastor Guy passed away suddenly. These are going to be quick. And there was people come from for his funeral service from far away South Africa. So condolences to them, and it was a sudden passing. He was up in the Shaddy's Moose and suddenly passed away, so my condolences to them. Remind everybody what Remembrance Day, we just had it, and what it really means. And everybody knows the events that happened last week, and terrorism is on our doorstep. And to remind, it was a reservist that was killed, the young corporal, plus the warrant officer was ran over. And we have reservists here in our own town who have gone to
in the last war, that the last battles we were doing in Afghanistan, they were there. And with us looking to go in Iraq, keep in mind that, freedom is not free, as we found out last week. The Excite building, I had that down as, I was going to talk about the arts groups, and it is working out for the arts groups, and I think as council we're pleased that we're able to help them. I share the frustration that we can't get provincial government to lift the lien like we've been asking, at least a sensible answer. We keep getting promises and empty promises. However, I will disagree with my esteemed colleague that I'm not disappointed that the Excite building is not going to be sold soon. I think there's a use for it, and as you know, I'm not in complete agreement of even selling the building regarding if the government lifts it. So I think there's still use for arts groups, and there's something we could redefine. And we were going to build a civic center only for the cost spiraled. Those needs have not, have not lessened one bit, and just proof to the pudding that, there is a use for the building, and we are now putting it to better use. So I think this is the conversation that we will continue on. Procurement. This past weekend, I had the privilege of reviewing art procurement every year for the town. The town buys artists from canvas and paintings and pictures and all these types of things, and this is what we do to support the local arts community. And we did that this past Saturday. And it was a panel of 3, and they were artists were picking, they were saying, the atmosphere and the thing and everything else, and they had all these fancy things, and I went, that's what it likes by. That's pretty well my contribution to it, and so that was, I have to say that we did pick out some nice works, and I congratulate Canvas and those other people. That was pretty well all I could add to the, it likes that, I don't know why, I just likes it. But there was some and it shows the talent that's here in the town when it comes to artists and everything else, and of course the town's dedication to providing in our budget to buy arts and to procure arts. Paving. If anybody's been driving around the town, I pity those poor people on the paving streets this morning as they came out and the wind was howling, but the paving is moving along. The engineering department has been staying on it, and it's very noticeable. A lot of people have been saying there's a lot of paving going on. Yes, there is. There's a lot of things going on around the town. We're still trying to muscle our way through it, and there'll still be some next year. Cranberry Bake Off. You didn't win. Well, participation. Congratulations to the people. I was surprised Saturday morning, number of people that came in at 9 o'clock in the morning. Were coming in with all their goodies and putting weight on just looking at it. The Fireman's Ball, some of these things we've already mentioned. At the Fireman's Ball, I will add one of the things I was listening to the report, and we talk about our firemen and a good job they've done. And of course, we always get these reports that things that damaged and lost and everything else. It's kind of hard to measure, as our fire chief said, to measure what we have saved. And oftentimes we don't measure that. So I think that was interesting and a good job that you do. I do share the mill demolition frustration, once again, and also the frustration that, I expect the mill not, and it's not going to cost us anything, but also that it's not going to be remediated back, and the environmental concerns are kind of up in the air. So I'm, concerned about this. Why is it's not only is it an eyesore, it's a safety hazard as well. If there was a fire there, the town would probably have to be evacuated. And this is something that, urge the provincial government. I don't know what's taking the delay. I think all of us are equally frustrated. I don't know what's taking the delay. And if an accident happens, it could be detrimental to the town. So I urge them to move on. The fines that were mentioned, that we did a great deal of discussion about the fines, and some people are not going to be happy. Nobody likes to hear the fines. But we think the fine schedule was definitely outdated. And if people have been saying before, our MEOs are pursuing people who have been out doing things they shouldn't be doing, and so the fines have been increased, so beware. Just real quickly on Blue Sky, it's unfortunate it happened. We're not the only community that's happened to, and I urge the provincial government, you changed it, it was working, now we have nothing but complaints. This is a provincial government matter, and as a municipality, I feel this has kind of been dumped in our laps. So I urge them to fix the problem, because it's a problem that they created. Exterior, public works. Some people have commented to me lately about the paint job on the Joe Byrne Stadium, and I think that one of our councillors said it in one of our committees, so I think that will be looked at in the budget, if some of those people are watching. I think that's it for me.
Thank you.
Is that 5 minutes?
Well, that's fine. I'll give you a minute's grace. Councillor Finn.
It was beyond 5 minutes, Mr. Mayor.
I know.
At least I didn't need a calendar.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just one item this evening. I just wanted to inform council and residents. This coming Saturday at 8:30 to 4:30, there will be a residential waste drop-off of paint, used tires, electronic waste, and cardboard, as well as household hazardous waste. And if I could very quickly, Mr. Mayor, run down through the items that are going to be accepted. And this event is going to take place Saturday at Centennial Field parking lot, 8:30, 4:30. They're going to take paints, that's interior and exterior paints, primers, varnishes, wood stains, finishing oils, paint aerosols, and empty cans of paint. In electronic waste, they'll be accepting televisions, desktop computers, portable computers, printers and accessories, personal and portable audio-visual systems, home audio systems, and non-cellular phones. With respect to tires, Mr. Mayor, they'll be accepting passenger tires, light truck tires, commercial tires, and motorcycle tires. And of course, they'll be accepting paper and cardboards. So I wanted to go down through this list because for the benefit of those listening, they could say, all right, you know, I have those items and I can plan to get that over there on Saturday. And as well, Mr. Mayor, that details on the household hazardous waste drop-off day are going to be on the town's calendar events page and the Facebook page, so that residents can go to our website and get that information about exactly what they accept there. I'm also noticing here in my notes that they'll be accepting propane tanks, oil, cleaning products, batteries, aerosol cans, and bleach. So it's a wide range of items, and if you're not sure, you can check the website or you can just visit the staff that'll be on the field that day, and they'll certainly advise you whether or not they can take it or not. So that's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Finn. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A few things, I just hearing the comments go around there. I would like to make it known that I was out of town this past week and I missed a lot of goings on in the community, including the Fireman's Ball and the
Weekend.
the Wishmakers Walk and a lot of Red Maple Festival activities that I would have liked to attend, and the Owen Grimes Walk I missed as well, yes. So a lot of things going on, a lot still left in the Red Maple Festival, so I'd encourage residents to have a look at the schedule on the website or check with the Parks and Rec Department to see what sorts of things that they can get involved in. Another initiative of the Red Maple Festival, Mr. Mayor, is the Halloween Best Decorated House. And the Parks and Recreation Director has given me the list of the winners and the honorable mentions that for the first time will be mentioned here tonight. And I'd just like to go through them quickly. The honorable mentions, which each will receive a $25 award. Terrence Hancock of 1 Ogilvy Street, $25 to Molly Buffett of 10 Andrews Crescent, Greg and Samantha Bowie of 36 McHugh Street, Kenneth Hemian at 41 McHugh Street, Parker Flynn at 3 Carey Place, and then the three winners, $50 and plaque will go to Blake Roberts and Travis Goodyear of 2 Hill Street. Second place, $75 and a plaque goes to Chris Monette at 388 Grenfell Heights. And anybody who's drove down Goodyear Avenue within the last week or two, it's no surprise to them that the $100 award and the plaque goes to Kellyanne and Aidan Sheridan at 114 Goodyear Avenue, and just a lot of work gone into those Halloween decorations, and I hope they stood up to the wind there today. And it was challenging. Moving right along there, I got a few other things. I wanted to mention, thinking about the Red Maple Festival and looking at the list of events in that, and I just wanted to point out and I guess publicly thank a business in town who seem to step up every time there's something like this or when a group needs a hand with fundraisers, and that's Classic Theater and the Feeners, Sean and Jackie, who do a fantastic job at allowing the community to use their facility there at the theater. They were involved heavily with the Zombie Walk, which I think raised $1,400 or $1,500 for the SPCA. They have monthly fundraisers at their business for a variety of groups, the Children's Wish Foundation, the Status of Women, and I think the swim clubs and that in town, and the list goes on, you know. So just a great job by the Feener family to show their commitment to the community through their business, and they don't have to do this, they do it, and it just shows their generosity and their commitment to the community, so I thought it was worthwhile to thank them here this evening on behalf of the town. I also attended the economic development session with the Liberal Party, and one thing that I would like to mention to the citizens is that we will be making a formal submission. Councillor Cody Davis did our presentation up there and did a great job, but we will be presenting a written submission as well, because we talk about our frustrations and that with the provincial government, and you know, whether it will or will not change next year, I guess is still undetermined, but I think it's high time that we start getting some traction with the opposition currently, in hopes that if they do succeed next year in the election, that they already have in mind our issues, and maybe we can get them on record, if you will, to see where they stand on some of our important issues. I'd like to mention, I got a baseball cap here tonight, and this, I don't know if you'd be able to get a shot of this or not, but this is the 50th anniversary of Land and Sea new logo. 50 years, probably the most iconic television program in Newfoundland's history. And a young lady from Grand Falls-Windsor, Mandy Healy, was the winner of the Land and Sea logo contest. 50 years. There was over 100 submissions, and her logo was chosen. So it's on hats and hoodies and mugs and all kinds of paraphernalia now. And congratulations to Mandy Healy, and I just wanted to recognize that there tonight. And it's a lovely little logo, by the way. Hopefully you can get a shot of it, but if not, you can see it on the CBC Land and Sea website. So congratulations, Mandy. I guess I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the fact that the Cataracts are back, and the season opener is this weekend at the Joe Byrne Memorial Stadium against the Gander Flyers, and everybody's expecting another exciting season of senior hockey, so I'd encourage people to get out, get their tickets, and support the Cataracts, and what hopefully will be another successful year for the team. And the only other thing I have, well, no, actually two things. One thing that I kind of want to put on the radar, and I've been doing this a little bit at meetings, I mentioned at committee meeting, and I know it's a challenging one in some respects, but I really like to see us as a council and the community start looking at implementing healthy eating policy into our programs and that. And, you know, I see Mr. Mayor looking at the cheap cranberry cookies there. And that's great, but you know, and it's hard to argue with free hot dogs. I get it, I understand it, I know it brings a crowd out, but we have so many functions as a town, and I would love to see us try to make an effort to try to incorporate more healthy eating and more healthy eating options for our youth. No, but, hey, you know, you got to start change somewhere, and you look at the schools in town, and the schools do a great job educating our youth in healthy eating and that, and there's a lot of different options there. But once they leave the school, it seems like maybe things are lacking. So something I just want to put out there for future discussion, and hopefully something we can continue to discuss in the future. And the last thing I'll mention, of course, Friday is October 31st, Halloween. And I'd just like to wish all the trick-or-treaters out there a very successful, make sure you get extra pillowcases this year to bring with you if you want. There's always lots of treats around town. I hope the weather cooperates, and obviously I'd encourage residents on Halloween night to take their time when you're driving around town, as there'll be a lot of little ones out around with their costumes on, and you know, some very visible, some not as visible, so taking your time around town on Halloween night and slow down and make sure that we don't have any unfortunate incidents, and best of luck to all the trick-or-treaters, and that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, and certainly thank everyone for trying to stay within the 5-minute window. I think I'll give A+ to some councillors, a little B- to some others, and have a talk to a couple of others. No, seriously, it's a lot of good things that's happening around this town, and of course, within.
Mr. Mayor, I think you used up your 5 minutes telling everybody not to take more than 5 minutes.
Did I really take that long? How things happen, eh? But it sidetracked me now. Within a 3-week period, obviously a lot of things, you know, happens in this town, because we are a town that is progressive rather than regressive. And we do have a lot of amenities there, and we are proud of it, and proud of our town. So, having said that, I'll have a motion by Councillor Finn and second by Councillor Pinsent, and we will see you all in 3 weeks.